How's it going, everybody? Another day in hot Colorado. I am here today to continue with the tutorial on making one of these wall hanger wire wrap trees. And if you've been watching the previous videos, I went through my first video was the intro, basically introducing what the plan was, what I was going to do, what I was going to show you. The first actual tutorial video, I did the hoop wrap with a suede, or you can use leather or whatnot, and showed how I did this the rigid way. And then the second tutorial video, I showed how to measure the wire and then also cut it down and attach it into a root structure for the tree itself. So today I'm back and I'm going to show you how I do the branch work off of this tree. And normally I wouldn't do it this way, but just because I want to give you guys a visual of how I'm doing it, and I want to break down the process into another couple videos. So this video and the next video, I'm going to show you just this process of the branch work, and not the curling of the wire and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is start branching everything out. We're going to get some main branches and kind of shape the tree as we go. So now what I do here, I'll bring it up just a little bit, is I have a good solid tight twist on this trunk, and I don't want to put the branch work all the way up top. I like to keep it a little bit low and have very little space in the tree, it's in the hoop itself. So when you're getting that, you have, I only have a little bit of space here, a little bit up top here. So, I like to try to fill it as much as possible. So I'm going to start the branch work down low. And what I want to try to avoid is taking some of the spooled ribbon that came together, that's all part of these original bundles. I kind of want to split it up, but I don't want to tangle it up and make it look too horrible as I'm doing this process. So what I do is I'll get it down to about right here, and I kind of untwist it. I get it back to its straight condition. And remember, the wires, when they're straight, are a lot easier to work with. They don't tangle up quite as much, and it's just better to keep everything straight. So I'll get it down here, and I'll get some bundles, kind of run your fingers through the wire to keep them from getting tangled up, because it'll make it easier to get it to where you want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first branch. And what I do is I'll just take a bundle kind of off of the main, and the lower branches I like to use quite a bit just because there's a lot more space to fill up here. And a lot of times I will go through and count the wire to kind of give myself an idea of how much branch work I can do from it. So when I do this, it's split away from the main part of the original wrap that came into that, because this wire right here is actually part of this one here as well. So I just got it kind of split. And one thing you want to watch out for is where the wires, like you could see this loose one right there, is kind of split from that. It's going to make a little knot, or you'll be able to see that later when you do the twist. So what I'll go do is I'll go through and remove that particular wire. And I have long nails right now. They're not pretty. I usually keep them cut down, but it does make it a lot easier when you're working these wire trees. So there was actually two that was crossed over. So I'll pull those back up to the main bundle. That way it's got a good even break there. And then all I do is give that a good solid one-time twist. I don't want to over twist this just yet. So I'll get in there and just kind of give it a little twist. Just kind of hold it in place. And then I'm going to take the rest of that original strand, or at least some of it, and kind of wrap it around the top of it. So It's really hard to work inside a van doing this. So if you can see this, you got the original twist there. There was some that came off of this main that I pulled apart, and that was up here, up in the original. So I pulled that away also, and I kind of brought that around to kind of hold this branch work in place. So I add that back to the main bundle again, and then I'm going to give that full bundle a solid twist around this branch work. Just one good solid twist. Make sure it's real tight around where you wrapped it around that branch. Get it real tight there, because when you start twisting that, it's going to kind of pop out if it's not real tight. So you want to make sure it's real tight to it, and then give it a good solid twist, and that's just enough to hold it there. So now I got that twisted together. I still got this here, and I'm going to twist that tight. That's my original first branch that I'm going to twist that pretty tight, give it a good solid structure. And then you'll have some of these loose wires, and you'll just come back over and try to give it a twist around that base as solidly as possible. So I'll grab the roots down here, because I don't want to grab this ring. It doesn't have a tight weld. I'll grab these roots down here. Basically, in between here is what I'm trying to twist. So I'm grabbing both ends, and I am grabbing tight and give it a good twist. And you can bend this down into a little L shape, V shape, whatever, just to give yourself leverage. It does make a difference and help out with it. So give that a good solid twist, and we can clean up this little wrap here using the tools, just by kind of lining it up where you want, pressing it in to fold it down or whatever, just to kind of give it a nicer texture working its way into the branch. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of squeezing some of these wires together to give it more of a smooth wrap look. And then I'm going to grab this and twist it again here. All right, so you'll have those right there that are still kind of loose. I didn't get mine really tight enough. So you can also take that, grab a hold of them, and then just do a twist like that, and it'll put a little knot in it. And I think I'm going to do it upwards, counterclockwise. So I'm grabbing them, and I'm just giving it, getting it around there, and then just giving it a good solid twist. And it just gives it a little extra texture to it. And, you know, I tighten it down. I grab it, the whole thing in between the needle nose, and I grab that and press that all down, just tight enough to give it a good look and feel to it. So now I got a tangle around my headphones. Okay. So that's just getting my first branch, you know, kind of making it pretty as I go. That's actually the back side of it. So once you got that, you just kind of angle it. I usually kind of go down a little bit to get it out of my way. And then I'm going to go up and do my next one. So once you're there, you still got all this twist here, and you want to kind of find your next placement. And I think I'm going to put mine somewhere right around here. So I'm going to untwist that a little bit. Get that straight again so I can work with it. And now I'm going to go the opposite direction. So this went that way. I'm going to make the next one go down that way. So I pull some away from the main. And you don't want to keep pulling too much, because you're going to need some of this getting up there to make some of the other branches and the top as well. So I'll pull some of those away. Look for any catching wires that may be hindering doing a good solid twist with that. So it's pretty much split there. I don't have any crossing there, so I'm just going to twist those together. and just kind of branch it off to the side there and twist. Good solid twist, and then grab these bundles and do the same. And when you're twisting, it doesn't hurt to make this kind of curve around and against the twist. It will hold it in place. It also gives the tree a little bit more less of a straight look. So you can see how mine kind of bends around it and then back up. It's almost a little spiral there. So then I get that tight again and make sure this is twisted down tight. So that's two of my main branches, and I try to keep them low as possible as I work my way up. And I usually will put in about, I don't know, 6 or so. So I got the first two, and I come back, I bring this other one out, and it looks like I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got about 7 in this one, and I'm gonna pretty much do the same thing with this. So now that I got that branch, I am going to come up. See, it's already got a natural curve in there, so I think I'm going to pull my next branch off of that little segment there. It's not twisted too tight that I can't unravel it. You will get up to the top and you'll see they're still twisted. That's the part you'll probably have to untwist and put your fingers through. You just got to get these straight again and keep them straight, because they're going to wrap and twist and get tangled with each other pretty easily. So now I come back down here to this one, and I try to keep my branch work off of the curves coming on the outside of the curve. So if it curves out this way, I want the branch to go that way. That's typically how I will do it. So I come back up here. Now first I'm going to give this base a good solid once over turn. I want that real tight. Okay. There. Now I'm going to loosen these tops a little bit so they're workable. And I do it for the next one. So I just do this all the way up until I get to the top. And once I get to the top, I'll usually V the last branch, make it into 2, and then I'll go back down and start doing the branch work off of the main. So let me go ahead and get these together, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now once you get your branches all taken care of, you got all your main branches. I got 7 here basically. I started with 1 down here, showed you the second one, and then I continued up off camera and did the rest of them. So basically all I did was continue up, splitting as I went, and I got to the last strand and I just V-shaped it up there. So it's just a V shape at top, and it doesn't have to be direct center. And I did kind of bend the wire just to give it a little bit more curve to it, more texture to it, and just to kind of give it a better look, I would suppose. And that's actually the front of it right there. So that's what I'm looking at when I do this. So the next step is we're going to do the same thing with each branch. So basically I'm going to turn mine around to face me. So I'm going to keep it down low, and I like to give this at least a basic, shape as I'm doing this. And then I come back later, I use my little wire needle nose pliers, and I'll get in there and actually give it the rough shape, the good bends and stuff. So I want this to kind of, you can see how it kind of curves away coming off of the main. It just curves up and over. I'm going to keep that curve to it and bring it down a little bit. And then from that bend, that's where the wires start to kind of loosen up. I'm going to bend that right back up right there. So I got that curve, it kind of goes down, and I can, shape that and make it look better as I'm doing this. And then I'm going to start splitting these wires. And I like to count and try to keep an even number, but I get a little OCD sometimes. And for this video, I am putting all that out my window of my van right now. So anyway, I am going to come up here and I'm going to do basically the same thing I did with the main branching off of the tree's main trunk. So I split that off, do the same here, and I just twist those together, each a separate branch. So it kind of V's off each other. Kind of like that. All right, so my front, it looks like that right now. It's not exactly pretty, but you're gonna make all this look really good when you're done here. So now I look at it and I kind of think to myself, where am I gonna put the canopy bundles? All right, so you got the main tree I did here that we are going to be replicating, or at least closely replicating. I decided I kind of think out where I'm going to put each bundle, and I like to keep it looking full. There's not a lot of spacing between large branching and stuff like that. So I look at it and I think to myself, okay, well, I definitely want, you know, something roughly right here. Okay, I like to kind of cover up some of this main trunk as I'm going, and turning it front side here, you can see what I'm going for. I kind of want that right there, and I might put one just right here off the side, kind of where that V's off and around there. I don't like to put them side by side so they're straight across. I kind of like to bring them up and down in a stepping pattern. They're not directly side by side, they step up from one another, each little bundle, each little canopy segment. So I kind of think about how I do that, and that's why I like to do the V shapes, because you can, you know, maneuver those the way you'd like to do it. So I'm going to turn this back around, and I start on this bottom one. I make sure it's got a good solid twist on there, it's tight, and then I'm going to go and split them again. So this is where I start to do the counting on camera. So I got 4 in this little branch here, and it looks like there's about 6 on this one. All right, so I can kind of get an idea of what my canopy is going to look like, what each little bundle strand will be. Because what I do is I end up splitting them again. So I tighten those together, giving it a good twist. And you got to kind of go back and forth between, otherwise they start to split from each other, which is fine. You can adjust those later. All right, so now I got another little V in there, and I think that's going to be all one big bundle right there. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take 2 off of that, because there is 6 in here. I want to keep these side by side. You need at least 2 to twist together. If you do run across an odd number, you can take it out of the branch like that and do a little bundle twist to itself also. But I'm taking 2 here. I'm gonna twist the remaining 4 here. Ugh, I got a fly that's coming in my van right now. It's driving me up the wall. I twist those 4 together, and then like I did in the original video tutorial, I just kind of fold these last 2 together, twisting as I go, making it tight. And then I got a little, anyway, I do that with the branches. I twist them. I keep a general idea of what the main branch is. So I'm going to say this is the main branch here, and this one down here I do want to tie to the hoop itself, and that's going to make sure this is tight and stable as possible. So when you're looking at it from the front, this is the front, you want to make sure that back end, when you line up the hoop, so you see it's off, now you line up those 2 on visual sight, this side has to be flat, because that's going to be the side that's sitting against your wall, or whatever you choose to hang off of it. This is going to be the bulge side. It sticks out, and you want to make sure it remains the bulge side. So when you have the final product, you can see it's flat on one side and bulging on the other. So that's the front facing, that's the back facing, the wall side. Okay, So always keep that in mind when you are twisting and shaping your wire. All right, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to get these ones split the way I'd like to split them. And sometimes you got to just pull all the wire out of these smaller bundles to kind of line them up. So you see they kind of cross over each other. You want to get the ones that are crossing the least. So I got 2 right here and 2 right here. And then I'm just going to fold those over and twist it into a little tiny branch. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. This is your tree. In nature, everything is different. Nothing looks exactly the same. So now, and as I do this, this is where I start taking my tools and I start kind of shaping these up out of the way. And all I do is basically grab the wire and I'll do a twist. And sometimes it helps to grab like I got 2 branches here. I'm going to put my finger over it and then I'm going to grab just below where my finger is and twist it. So I'm holding it in place. It's giving it a little twist there. I don't know how well you can see it. That gives it a little bit of form. If you see any gaps coming in the wire, you can always pinch them back together. And I do the same thing. I just kind of grab the wires here, pull it up. I'll move my needle nose up a little higher and then I'll bend it again just to kind of give it a little bit of a shape so it maneuvers around here. Then I'll grab this next one below it and I'm going to pull it down and twist it up. So now I got more of a shape there. So now these loose wires, I'm going to kind of grab them together, keep them together like that, keep these together like that, and I'm going to twist this one. So I pull these 2 together. This is the piece I'm choosing to attach to this. So now I'm going to take these 2 wires, get those twisted together real quick, just long enough for a branch. And as you get more ends floating around here, it's harder to get your fingers into and twist these together because they're tangling around each other. It gets a little bit more difficult. And that's why I usually will just do one branch at a time and you know, get those all done individually, canopied. It gets all these wires out of the way. But for the videos and learning's sake, I'm just going to go up and do the branch work. And you can keep in mind, you don't have to do the canopy. You can always just tie these off and just do the branch work, you know, and I'll probably, you know, do a video on that as well. Which, I mean, you can basically take all that knowledge from this video because it's the same thing without doing the twists at the end. All right. So now you got to keep these from tangling around each other, constantly pulling them out of the way. All right. So now I got that done. Whew, okay. I'm going to kind of give myself a pattern with this branch here. I'm going to twist it up. I'm going to turn it inwards. I want to pull those 2 twisted branches apart. Okay. And I pull them 2 different ways. I got the depth and I got the side to side. So I make sure I'm twisting these together. And sometimes you got to stop and go back and twist those 2 branches, make it tighter because they seem like they're a little loose there. It doesn't matter if they're loose. I mean, the tighter they are, the more durability this tree is going to be, a lot less swaying, and there's going to be tightening can, you know, cause it to be less pliable and harder to work with. But all right, so once I kind of shape the general idea of where I want these branches to be, how they will look, you know, and I'm just randomly grabbing, twisting, folding, turning, you know, just making it a knotted mess, you know, making it have some form to it. All right, so now that wire that I'm deciding to attach to this I'm going to split those apart and twist it together enough until I get to where I am touching the end of the hoop. So give it one more twist there. So now I'm touching the hoop with where these two ends will split. So I got the two ends there and they're just touching it. So now one of these I'm going to put through the hoop and around it, catch one of the grooves, and you decide where you want to put your placement. I'm going to put mine up just a little bit right here, and then you wrap it around like you did the root structure. Get it so you're back down to the base of that original twist, and then you're going to twist those two wires together. So you fold it down there, fold it over, and then twist it. And this is where you want to do it a little bit tight. Just remember, don't over tighten. When you're doing two wires like this, you can over tighten them and break the wire. All right, so now the way I have it, get this out of the way. So now the way I have it is that first branch work is all split up right there and attached, and now I got this extra wire here that's going to be part of the branch. And what I'll end up doing is bringing these down all together. I'll shape them visibly a few times. I'll do this one. I'm going to do that one actually up here somewhere. And I just have them all at the ready here to go. And then you got your first branch. So now I'm going to go through and do a few of these, show you what it's going to look like, and, you know, kind of tell you how I'm going to bundle them together and get everything prepped for the next video on showing you how to make the canopies. Anyway, let's go ahead and put that together and I'll show you what I got. Okay, so I got 3 of the major branches taken care of on this tree, which is pretty much half of the tree itself. So you can see as you're branching these out, it gets to become a lot of just loose wire everywhere. And just because I'm showing you just the branching on this video, I'm not doing the canopy. Usually I'll do, you know, a branch at a time, do the curling of the ribbon to get my little bundles on there. But just to show you the branching and how I do it, this is what I've come up with so far. Typically what I do is I'll take each major branch. So I got 1 major branch, 2 major branch, 3 major branch. I'll split them into 2 branches each, which is going to give it 2 of the different bundles of the curls. I basically split into 2 branches, so that's going to be 2 different tufts of the canopy itself. So I'll have one here, you can kind of see how I separate them, and then I'll have another one right there. Same with the one above it. I got one here, and these outer ones I am tying to the rim of the hoop itself. So I got another one here on the inside. These ones you can keep loose. They don't have to tie anything. They actually give it some of the bulk. And if you turn it to the side, you can see they're all kind of popped out, sticking out there, you know, front and center. And I did the same here as well. So I got 2 different groups on that. Now, when you're doing this, you got to grab these and kind of pull them off to the side and shape them so they're not tangling with everything. So I kind of got everything pretty separate to where it's workable when it comes to the curling. A lot of the ways I get that curling, the way it looks like that, is I'll grab them, and then just like when I was trying to showing you how to straighten the wire, what I do is I put my thumb to it and I just kind of slide my fingers down into the way I'd want it to curl. So it's out of the way. This one I just straightened out basically by showing the example, but I do that a few more times. I finally finished getting the top section all wired up. So I had twisted all these top 3 branches into separate little bundles. This top is going to be all one bundle, and then I got 2 off of each branch here as well. So this is basically what it's going to look like if you do it this style and do all the branch work out without curling the canopy as you go. It's a mess of wires. That's going to be hard to work with later, but you can move things out of the way. It will be pliable and doable, and I'm going to show you the next steps in my next videos. So hopefully you guys are enjoying what I'm putting together for you all and learning how to get some wire wrap trees going, and you know, come up with something creative of your own that you can do. And you know, feel free to post some pictures in the comments, or links to pictures or something. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. And you know, don't forget to hit that like button if you like the videos, like what I'm doing, and you know, show your support by hitting that like button. That shows me that you're watching and enjoying what you're seeing. And you know, be sure to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know suggestions, tips and tricks, anything that you have that you'd like to share with everybody else that I can put out here. You know, feel free to definitely express yourself in the comments. And then don't forget to subscribe, follow along. You know, I got more videos that's coming up, more tutorial videos that I'll be doing, and I got a whole lot of other adventures out there on my channel that you know, you can check out and browse. Let me know what you think. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying. You guys have a great day, and we will talk in the next video. Have a good one, guys.